Title: The Rise of the Ghouls. Subtitle: A Journey from Darkness to Light in a World of Fear and Prejudice. Once upon a time, in a world not so different from our own, there lived a tribe of creatures known as ghouls. They were rumored to roam the earth after dark, seeking out the flesh of the living to feed upon. But despite their fearsome reputation, the truth about these creatures was far more complex than any simple horror story. You see, the ghouls were not born as monsters. They were once human, but had been transformed by a mysterious virus that swept across the land. The virus caused their bodies to undergo strange and terrifying changes, until they were no longer recognizable as the people they once were. They became faster, stronger, and nearly immortal. But their greatest gift, and their greatest curse, was the insatiable hunger that drove them to feed upon the flesh of the living. At first, the people of the world feared and hunted the ghouls, driven by a mix of terror and revulsion. But over time, some began to realize that the ghouls were not mindless beasts, but were instead creatures with their own unique cultures and traditions. And so, in some parts of the world, a fragile peace was forged between the humans and the ghouls. They agreed to live and let live, as long as the ghouls agreed to only feed upon the bodies of the dead. This peace held for many years, and the world seemed to have found a way to coexist with the monsters in their midst. But as with all such truces, it was only a matter of time before someone came along to upset the balance. In this case, it was a man named Alexander, a powerful politician with ambitions to rule the world. Alexander saw the ghouls as a threat to his plans, and he set about devising a plan to destroy them once and for all. Alexander's first move was to spread rumors about the ghouls, painting them as bloodthirsty monsters who posed a constant threat to the safety of the people. He staged a series of attacks, blaming them on the ghouls and using them as an excuse to tighten his grip on the people. And before long, the people were once again calling for the extermination of the ghouls. The ghouls were caught off guard by this sudden turn of events, and they found themselves hunted and persecuted once again. But this time, there was no going back. The ghouls were forced to go underground, hiding in the shadows and seeking refuge in the darkest corners of the earth. They banded together, forming tight-knit communities that would protect one another against the dangers of the outside world. And yet, even as they hid, the ghouls refused to give up. They knew that they were not the monsters that Alexander claimed them to be, and they were determined to prove their innocence to the world. So they began to gather their strength, training and preparing for the day when they would once again rise up and fight for their right to exist. Years passed, and Alexander's hold on the world grew stronger. But even as he basked in his own power, a new generation of ghouls was emerging. These young creatures were not content to hide in the shadows any longer. They were bold and daring, driven by a desire to reclaim their rightful place in the world. And so, when the opportunity presented itself, they struck. In a daring raid, the young ghouls descended upon Alexander's stronghold, striking from the shadows and taking him by surprise. In the chaos that followed, the ghouls fought with all their might, determined to put an end to the tyranny once and for all. And in the end, after a long and bloody battle, the ghouls emerged victorious.
Thanks for watching and subscribe to our channel.